Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tech with Sach. My name is Sachin, a Google developer expert, and we have a very special episode for you today. So, in this episode, we will learn how to build smarter AI agents using Vertex AI Conversation Playbooks. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, in the previous tutorials, we've learned how to use Vertex AI conversations to build applications or conversational applications and how you can actually embed that within your website or how you can actually use those different sources like data sources from contents from your website or from PDFs, documents, HTML files, or even in the last episode, we covered how you can extract data from your data warehouse like BigQuery and use those information as your source for your chatbot. Now, in this episode, you're going to do completely something different. And what I mean by that is we're going to use or build AI agents that will actually do the work for you. So, what I mean by that is we're going to explore something called as playbooks. And we'll also cover what are playbooks and what is a playbook agent and how we can actually go about building an application from scratch today. So, what we'll be doing today is we'll be building out a shirt ordering assistant where the basic goal of the assistant would be to capture information from the user. What kind of shirt do you need? What is the size that you're looking for? What is the color that you're looking for? And basically confirming the order. So that's basically the whole purpose behind this. So let's actually go step back and understand some of the basic fundamentals. So what is a playbook or what is a playbook agent? So think about, let's talk about playbooks first. So playbook is the basic building block of a playbook agent. What it basically does is think about a playbook as a specific set of tasks or goal that you need to achieve. So in an actual use case, if you think about it, you might want to set up a AI agent for your business. You might have different verticals within your business, and each of those verticals are doing a specific set of tasks. Now you can actually use playbooks to actually get that done. So how exactly is, if you look at it, as I mentioned, a playbook agent is composed of one or more playbooks. So think about a playbook agent as a set of playbooks that's defined within the agent. And each playbook has a clearly defined and limited scope. So, for example, if you're looking at what we're going to build today, we will have a playbook called as order and we'll have a playbook called as something else, right? So, that order playbook will very specifically be about just taking the order from the user. And typically, the playbook consists of few things. So one is goals. Each playbook has a playbook agent will have a goal. So goals are high level descriptions of what a playbook can accomplish. Instructions. So think about instructions as you're providing the instruction to this playbook saying that these are the things that you need to do to achieve this specific goal. And finally, we have examples, just like how we have training data that we use to train our machine learning models. Similarly, you need to provide certain examples for the AI to understand, okay, these are the kind of examples that I already have, and let me actually behave or mimic that specific aspect. So this is what I was talking about. So we're going to create a playbook agent, and each playbook consists of a goal, instruction, and examples, right? So I'm going to actually show you how it is done. And for everyone who's joining us for the very first time, if you're new to this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the bell icon so that you can be notified for future videos. So with that being said, we've already covered how to build applications using Vertex AI search and conversations. If you're new to this channel, once again, please go back to the previous tutorials and see how it is done. But on a very high level, it's very easy. You need to go to console.cloud.google.com. Make sure you create a new Google Cloud project. Make sure that you have your billing enabled for that. And once that is done, under the APIs and services, enable the Dialogflow API and come all the way down under artificial intelligence. You'll find search and conversations. Okay, so we've done this exercise in the previous episodes, so feel free to go back to those and refer that. And we also have users joining us in the live stream, so thanks a lot for joining. Please let me know if you have any questions or queries in the live chat. Okay, so with that being said, let's go to search and conversations. We're going to directly get into how to build one from scratch. And as we do this, we'll also cover the basics and some of the concepts behind it. So please keep in mind, Vertex AI Conversation Playbooks are still in public preview. So that means most of the information would be as it is, but there is a chance that some of the features that we are looking at could change. But this is such a powerful tool. I believe that you can actually build really cool AI agents using this. And that's why I just wanted to make sure that we have this video out there and I cover this as much as possible. Okay, so coming back over here, you can see I've already created one, but let's actually go ahead and do this exercise from the beginning. So the first thing to do is go and click on New App. Let me close all the other windows. Okay, so the first step to do is, in all of our previous tutorials, we were building a chat application, right? So we used to select this as the option. Now we know under Vertex AI Search and Conversation, you can build different types of applications, be it search, chat, recommendations, and which is now what we're going to try is the Generative Playbooks, which is still in preview, but again, it's in public preview. I would highly recommend that you guys understand the concepts behind it, play around with it, so that once it's generally available, you have the early access into this. Okay, so with that being said, let's get started. So the first step to do is create a new app, select Generative Playbooks. And over here, you can give a specific name. So in this case, I'm gonna call it new, or let's call this shirt ordering assistant. I've already created one. Just for the sake of demo, I'm just gonna call this demo or assistant 2. Okay, I'm just gonna choose the region and click on create. So once that is done, you should see the next configurations. Okay, so this is one of the things that you need to keep in mind. By default, when you create a playbook agent, it will have a default playbook. Now, the purpose behind the default playbook is, again, this is like your starting point of your conversations, right? So the main aim of this default playbook would be, let's say if you have multiple playbooks that you want to or multiple agents that needs to handle multiple goals or multiple tasks, you can actually define that overall as a goal into your default playbook. So we'll actually get to see how that is done. So let me actually go ahead and do this. So the next thing that you can do is, you can see over here, you have the goal and you have instructions. So every time you create a new playbook, all of this will have the same fields. As I mentioned, the goal, what is the goal, main purpose of this specific agent, and instructions actually provide your large language model, in this case, behind the scenes. Think of these as like prompts that you're actually telling the AI what to do. So the first thing that we'll do is let's go ahead and create a new playbook called order. Okay. So if you come back, if you're in playbooks, click on playbooks, you'll get to see the list of playbooks that's already available. So let's go ahead and create a new playbook and give it a name called order. Okay. And the goal that we are going to provide for this is something similar to this. So again, this could be any kind of goal. So what we are doing over here is just an example, but this could be a goals completely based on your business scenario, right? Or use case. So in this case, you can find that we are saying that your goal of this specific playbook is going to be you are a shirt store ordering agent, help customers purchase shirts, help the customers choose the size and color. The shirts come in small, medium, and large, and the shirts can be red, green, or blue. So this is the basic goal that we are providing. And then we are going to provide it with instructions. So you can see over here, these are the general instructions. So one of the things that we can do is just go ahead, and I'm pasting in a sample over here, and we'll go through this one by one. So what does the instruction say over here? If the customer has not provided a size, ask them to choose a size. If the customer has not provided a color, ask them to choose a color. Once the customer has selected a size and the color for the shirt, repeat the selection to the customer and ask them to confirm the selection. So over here, what we are basically doing behind the scenes is just allowing or providing the instructions to the AI model to say, okay, these are the instructions that you need to follow. This is on a very high level. This is the goal for this specific playbook, and follow the instructions, right? So once the customer has confirmed the selection, let them know that the shirt is now ordered. Do not provide prices or collect payment. Do not collect the customer's name or address. Okay. So these are the general instructions. Now, these instructions are provided to the playbook agent. Now, one of the other things that you'll also see, and we'll cover this in the future episodes as well, is you have the ability to link this with tools, right? And we'll cover this in one of the future episodes, and we'll go through different scenarios. And this is why I feel that this is a very powerful tool and feature. Why? Because not only are we providing it with a goal and instruction, but we can also link it with existing services or tools and then link it all together to create a fully functioning AI agent, right? So we are not going to explore the tools at this point. So let's go ahead and save this. Now, once you save this information, if you go back into the playbooks, you'll find that we have now two playbooks. One is the default playbook and the other one is order playbook. We are going to create one more playbook, which is called information playbook. So let's actually go ahead and do that. So click on create playbooks again. In this case, I'm going to call this playbook as information. And at the same time, I'm going to provide it with a goal. Now, what is the goal of this specific playbook called information? The basic goal is to provide the information about the shirt store. What is the time? So for example, the store is open between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. every day, and the store is located at so-and-so place, location, right? So we are just giving it general information. And this is mostly the case with any kind of business, right? You have a business unit which is all about like ordering and other purchasing aspects of it. Then you have the information related aspect. Then you can have a payment related aspect. You can have any other different business use cases. And each of those can be a different playbook, right? And you can define the goals over there. You can define the instructions. And why this is a very powerful feature is if you followed our previous tutorials, you would have seen that we used to, in order for us to actually build some of these use cases, we had to actually design this in a, using flows, pages, and other things in Dialogflow CX. And that, even though it's very cool, it also takes a lot of time for you to actually design all the different flows and conversations that the user might have. And using large language models right now, in this case, you would see that it's using Gemini Pro AI model. So we are actually using large language models behind the scene to actually get these things done. And most of the information that we are providing in the form of goals and instructions, you can think about them as prompts that's being entered behind the scenes. So with that being said, let's actually come back into the instructions part. So this has a very simple instruction, which is if the customer asks for the store location, provide them with the address. And if the customer asks for store hours, provide them with the hours. Okay. So the purpose of this playbook is very simple, to provide very simple information about the store. So let's go ahead and click on save. So we're done. So now if we go back, we have the default playbook. By default, every time you create a playbook agent, you'll find the default playbook. So this is going to be a starting point, and you'll see that it is already, you can always identify it by this star symbol, right? So the other thing that we are going to do right now is we've created this order, we've created this information, but under the default playbook, we've not given it any information. So let's go back and update this default playbook. So in this, what are we going to do is we are going to provide the goal. So what is the default playbook goal? You are an agent for a shirt store. Okay. Your name is Samantha. So this is, we can actually change this. Let me change this to such. Okay. So your job is to direct customers to other agents based on the customer's questions. So think about this. As I said, your default playbook is the entry point when you start interacting with your AI agent. Now, and within that, you're saying this default playbook's main goal is for customers to interact with other agents, right? So whenever a specific question is asked, the default playbook will identify, okay, I need to pass this information to agent playbook, let's call it order. And if it's any questions about the store details or timings, I need to pass this information to another agent, which in this case, we created it as the instructions agent, right? Playbook. So that's basically the whole idea about it. And you can go about creating multiple playbooks depending on different use cases and kind of link it all together in the form of natural language. Here, we are not doing any coding. We're just completely designing this entire AI agents using natural language. We are just defining it with instructions. And the next one, what are the instructions over here? So if you think about it, we'll go through this one by one. So if the customer hasn't been greeted yet, greet the customer, introduce yourself, and ask the user how you can help. Okay, so that is the first instruction. The second one is, if the customer wants the information about the store, route them to playbook information. So you can see how it is being dynamically binded by providing in this specific manner, right? So you can link it to any kind of playbooks that we have created by defining this, right? So dollar provided by playbook information. And if the customer wants to purchase a shirt, route them to playbook order. And this is why I said you can actually link multiple, and this is how it's actually done. You can link multiple playbooks by providing it in this specific manner. So I hope by now you guys are clear in terms of the basic fundamentals of playbooks. A playbook agent consists of multiple playbooks, each playbook is, think about it, it's the basic building block for a playbook agent. And each playbook consists of goals, instructions, and then if you, in the future, if you will be covering that, you can also connect it with tools, right? So let's go ahead and save this as well. So as of now, as of this specific point, we have actually covered most of the things from a design, conversation design standpoint. So let me go back over here. So just to kind of summarize what we've did. So we've gone to Vertex AI Search and Conversations. We've created a new app. We've selected Generative Playbooks as one of the app type. And from there, we've come and we've created a default playbook is automatically created for you. We've created two playbooks, which is called Order Playbook and Instructions Playbook. And under each of these playbooks, we have created a specific goal and instructions. So for example, for the goal for the instruction playbook is to provide information about the store, like what are the timings as well as the location. And the order playbook is the purpose, or the goal is to basically allow the user to purchase the t-shirt by saying what is the size and the color. And one of the other things that we've also done is we've gone back to the default playbook and we have configured the default playbook's goal and instruction to say, if the question is about store details, route them to the information playbook. And if the information that the user is asking is about anything to do with order, then route them to the order playbook. And we have dynamically binded those values as well. So that's all we've done as of now. Now let's move on to another interesting aspect. And once again, for people joining us, if you have not subscribed, please do subscribe for future episodes. And don't forget to click on the bell icon so that you can be notified. Okay, so I think all of it is cool. So I can see people joining us. Seshagri, yeah, this is cool. I totally agree. This is totally cool. And you'll get to see a lot more as we proceed within this tutorial. So let's hope the entire thing works at the end of the day. So coming back to where we left off, we've done all the basic things. Now let's actually go ahead and do the next thing, which is providing examples to our playbooks. So the first thing that you need to do is, there's two ways that you can actually do. So if you actually go back to playbooks, if you click any of these playbooks, for example, I'm in the default playbook, I can just go and see examples. Now under the examples tab, you'll see that right now we don't have any specific example. So you can see over here, and for the sake of demo, let me just zoom in so that you guys can read this. So each playbook should have one or more examples, and these examples are sample conversations between an end user and the playbook, including the dialogue and actions performed by the playbook. These are effectively few short prompt examples for the large language model. So it's almost like if you've been doing Gemini, or if you have used Gemini AI model or ChatGPT, OpenAI's model, you learn about zero short prompts, few short prompts, and so on. So what few short prompt examples are basically providing few examples to the AI, the large language model, to basically say that, okay, these are the kind of example conversations that we have. So as a large language model, try and mimic this as much as possible. Okay, so let's come back to this. So in this case, what we're going to do is on the right side, you'll find that we have a way for you to select each playbook, and you can also test it out. And under the generative model, you do have the option to choose the different types of AI models or the large language models. Of course, we are going to choose Gemini over here, and let's just say hello. So you can immediately see that it has given me an example which says, or a response which says, "Hi, my name is Sach. How can I help you today?" All of this was done just by us providing it with these goals and instructions. So if you think about it, when we say hello, which is basically as per the instruction, if the customer hasn't been greeted yet, greet the customer. And that is what the AI agent did, right? And then the second thing is introduce yourself, and that is what it did. And ask the user how you can help. So this is basically what the instruction that the default playbook actually followed, right? And then what we can then do, one of the ways that we can save examples, and this is also an easy feature that you can actually follow. You can actually click on this, and if I zoom out, you do have the ability to actually save this response directly into the playbook. So let me actually try and do that. So let's go back here, examples. Let me reset the conversation, and let's say hi. Okay. So as I said, the playbook is still in preview stage, so a few things would change. So yesterday the save button was over here. I can see now it's moved to this, the save example, right? So all you need to do is, this is another way for you to actually save conversations or examples. So in this case, all you have to do is click save example and give it a name. So let's call this as greeting. Okay. And once that is done, click create. And what it will do is automatically, all this conversation that we had, it will automatically save it into the default playbook. Okay. So this is a very simple way for you to actually use some examples. Instead of, you have two ways, right? So the other way was basically come back here, create an example manually, and then you need to fill in the details. But the other way is, in that case, you can also have a much more fine-tuned example response that you can provide. But another easier way is to also have a conversation with the large language model. In this case, have a conversation with your default playbook, and based on that, you can then provide it to the user. Okay, so that was step number 1. So we've done with default playbook. Let's now go back and try out the same thing for the instruction playbook. So let's go back to the information playbook. Here we are going to choose the examples as well. As of now, we have not created any example. So we're going to start having a conversation with this specific playbook. So in order to do that, you can see that by now we are still in default playbook. Click on the reset conversation and choose information as your playbook, and then start having the conversation. So I'm just going to say, where are you located? And immediately you can see that the store is located at so-and-so location. And where did this come from? This came from over here. So if the customer asks for the store location, provide them with the address, and the goal, within the goal, we've already mentioned that the store is located at so-and-so location, right? So this has been handled perfectly. So let's actually go ahead and save this as an example. So in order for you to save this, click this, save this, and say this as location. So we have two things, right? In this, we are showing the location as well as we have the timings as well. So let's go ahead and just save this as the location. Click on create. Oh, sorry. Let me do that again. Save example and call it location. So one of the things that you need to do is whenever we are saving this, apart from the default playbook, the first conversation that the users added, you have to delete this. So let's just do that. And then I am actually doing something wrong. So let me close this. Let's come back here. Let me go back to the information. We are already over here. Save example. So while I just figure this out, let me just go each playbook. It should have, okay, let me try this out in the order playbook. Let me save this. I might be missing something over here. So just bear with me while I do this. So let's go back to information again. Let me reset all of this so that we have. In this case, let's actually try the other way around. So we're going to call it here. And let me zoom in. So what I'm asking over here is, what are your hours? And the AI should be able to handle that as well. So we have a chat saying hello from Colombia. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining today. Super excited to see people from all around the world joining. So always a pleasure to have you on the channel and looking forward to interacting with you all soon in the future episodes as well. And if you have any questions or queries regarding this, feel free to leave them in the chat section. So we have the example over here. Let's click on information, save example, and let's call this hours. Remove this and let me just see if I can save this. Okay, so this is something that I need to figure this out. I think there's something that has changed over the past this thing. So if I create a new example, you need to provide this, but you do have the option to automatically handle this. So let me just give this one more shot. Or let me just refresh just to make sure everything is proper. Okay, going into the shirt ordering assistant 2, which is the one that we just created. And over here, let's go back. So we had our example thing under the greetings work perfectly. So that's the same experience that I'm expecting for the other playbooks as well. So let's go back into the information. I choose the default information over here. Gonna have a conversation. What are your hours? It gave me the example. Gonna save the example. It should be save over here. I'm not sure why it's not working. And one of the things that you need to also remember, whenever you're saving examples, apart from the default playbook, you should always remove the first conversation of the user that you've entered. Okay. Let me see if I'm missing out something. Okay, I'll come back to this probably in the next episode, but let me actually show you how it was done in my first the other application. This is the reason why I always keep a backup, just in case if some of the features change, still it's still in preview and so on. So if you come here, and for each of these playbooks that I have created, for order, we have this selection that we have over here. You can see that I've created all of the conversations that we have. So in this case, you can see great, what size and color would you like? Large, what color would you like? Green. Okay, so you want a large green shirt. Can you confirm? Yes. So this sample conversation, I've actually saved it as a selection. This under the order playbook. The same thing I did for the information. Under the information, you will see that you have two, which is hours and location. So the store is open between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. So you can see, like, when you're having these conversations, it'll automatically have. So let me actually try this over here. So let me cancel this and choose information. So here also something has been changed over here. So clearly something is being worked on behind the scenes. As I said yesterday, the save example button was on my left side. So again, this is one of the things that usually happens while it's still in preview stage. But nevertheless, you can actually go ahead and create an actual example and fill out all these details, right? Which is start with an example with a playbook input. So this is similar to like what we enter and what the response should be and what the state of the playbook is, right? So we are manually entering this information instead of the chat. Okay. But I do want to come back to this and show you guys how it is done after, this thing is fixed, this specific functionality is fixed. So that's basically it. So now we've created a playbook called order and information. We have provided it with information, goals, and instructions. We've also provided it with sample examples. Each of those has a sample conversation that we've already handled. And that's basically all the information that we need to do as of now. So as of this point, we have done zero coding, zero designing conversations in terms of flows, charts, nothing of those things, right? So it's purely being instruction based, natural language. You're explaining what the AI should do and hopefully conversation. And let's actually do two things. One, let's start having a conversation with the AI agent or the playbook agent that I created before this tutorial. And we'll also see the one that we just created right now with example, without the examples, and see how the responses are, right? So one of the things that you can do over here is click reset conversations, choose the default playbook over here, and then let's go ahead and start having conversations. So I'm just going to say hi. So in this case, this agent will have the name Samantha. Okay, how can I help you today? What is your store all about? Or let's call it where is your store located? And immediately you can see the store is located at so and so location. And the way how it did this is behind the scenes. And if you're interested, you can also click on this icon over here, which will actually show you what's actually happening behind the scenes, right? So this is also an interesting way for you to actually trace out the entire conversation. Now over here, the default playbook has identified that the user is asking something about the store, and it has routed that information to the information playbook. And then over here, it is getting this information directly from the information playbook. I can say I would like to order, and for guys, I always forget to zoom in so that you guys can see clearly. And I can say, okay, I would like to order a shirt. Okay, and I'm trying to be as casual as possible in these conversations. So we'll see how good the AI is handling this. So it says, great, I can help you with that. What size and color would you like? Now at this point, as a user, I don't know what colors they have. So I can say, I can ask both. Let's actually, just for the sake of testing this, let's actually, what size do you have? It says, okay, we have small, medium, and large. And how about the colors? So over here, it said, okay, how about the colors? We have red, green, and blue. Perfect. So overall, whatever this specific playbook agent is supposed to do, it has automatically handled all of the conversations, right? All of the goals. So both in terms of the order goal as well as from the instruction goal, it has handled this. Let's also reset this conversation and try this in a different way. I say, hi, how are you today? So it says, I'm doing well, thank you. How can I help you today? Okay, I love your shirts and I would like to order a large shirt or large red shirt. So within one conversation, I have provided all the information, and you can see over here that, okay, it has automatically identified that the playbook that's involved is the order playbook. So you want a large red shirt. Can you confirm? Say yes. And then it has automatically triggered the order thing, right? So behind the scenes, what we can do is, in the future, once we have the tools, we'll be able to link it to any services that you guys existingly have and kind of connect it with different tools and services and APIs and so on. And that is why this specific functionality is very powerful. Okay, so I think we do have a question over here. Do you think that I can integrate other generative AI models into fulfillments through webhooks, or do you recommend the other way? So I'm not sure what exactly do you mean by that, but yes, definitely from a fulfillment standpoint, you can do that and call this API behind the scenes. And whatever you do behind as a, with a fulfillment or a webhook, you can do your business logic. You can even further call other APIs behind the scenes, or it could be based on your business logic, pull that information back, and then be part of this specific AI agent as well. So once everything is done, end of the conversation, right? So that's basically what we've done so far. So now you'd say we've basically tried to kind of understand how to build a playbook agent with multiple playbooks, defining with goals and services, defining it with goals and instructions. And then the next question that you would say is, okay, these are great. What can we do? How can we integrate? And as usual, if you go and click on integrations, we do have integrations on all of these, especially, let's say, Dialogflow Messenger. If you have followed the previous tutorials, I've actually shown you how I've taken Dialogflow Messenger and used it in my own website. Feel free to go and check that out, which is techwithsuch.com. And over there, whatever you're interacting with is actually being created using Vertex AI Search and Conversations. So similarly, if you go and click on Dialogflow Messenger, the option that you have for playbooks is an authorized API. Okay. And for this to work, you need to actually go through a specific set of instructions or specific set of process within your Google Cloud Console. And we can actually do that probably in the next episode. Let me know if you want me to cover this. We've already seen how you can add Dialogflow Messenger for any user, anonymous user who would want to come and visit your website. But in certain cases, you want to know who is the user, and only authorized users should go through your chatbot or conversations. And then based on the authorization, you need to handle different aspects for the user. So if you don't know how to do that, and if you'd like me to cover that, please do mention that in the comment section, and I will definitely cover that. So which is how to enable Dialogflow Messenger with the authorized API access. So we'll keep that for the next episode. At the same time, let me also go back to let me go back to Vertex AI Conversations. So whatever we tried right now was the one with training examples, right? Very few training examples. And what you can then do is come back over here, Short Ordering Assistant 2. This is the one that we just created. And I'm actually, just for the sake of curiosity, let's try how this behaves with almost zero examples behind the scenes. So the only example I believe that we were able to save was for the default playbook. And again, if needed, we can actually do this manually by typing in each what the user would say, what the AI model would say. And I will show that in the next episode once this specific functionality is fixed. So let's go back. So I'm just going to choose the default playbook, make sure everything is reset. I'm just going to say hello or hi. Perfect. I'm going to say, I would like to order a red shirt. Let's see what it does. It has understood that whatever from the default playbook, it has understood that, okay, I need to now route the conversation to the order playbook because the conversation is about that. And then the playbook or the AI model has automatically identified that I've already captured the color red. It's asking what size. So I can say medium. And by doing that, what color shirt would you like? So see, this is an example where we had a trained example with an agent, and this is without the trained agent. So without few short examples, it's still asking me for the color, even though I provided it. So let's actually provide it with, let's say in this case, red. Okay, so you want a medium red shirt, is that correct? Yes. And then it's done its task. So the more examples that you provide, the better your AI model would get, especially from a large language model perspective, right? And you can see that behind the scenes, the large language model that we are using is Gemini over here. And once all of this is done, you can then go ahead and integrate it with all of these platforms. So we have Dialogflow Messenger, Line, Google Chat, Slack, Twilio, Discord, so many other integrations that you can integrate with just by doing this. Now, whatever we just tried right now is a shirt ordering thing. It could be, think about it from a restaurant aspect. So it could be a food ordering system, anything, right? And in certain cases, you can actually combine this as a hybrid model as well, or a hybrid agent where part of the conversations you can actually create it with Dialogflow, and then you'll be able to link this into the Dialogflow CX agent, like hybrid agents. So that is something that would come in the future. And with that being said, just to kind of summarize, we created smarter AI agents today without designing any conversations. All we did is provide it with creating playbooks, and each playbook had a goal and instruction that we provided. And once that is done, we need to give some few examples for the playbook for the large language model to basically understand what kind of conversations that the AI model should basically handle. And once all of that is done, the playbooks automatically identify based on the goal that we provided. It will automatically handle all the conversations. So that's exactly what we did today. I'm super excited today to have you all on the channel. And I have, I think, one more comment. Excellent channel. I hope for more of this content. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for joining today, and thank you for joining all the way from Colombia. Super excited to have a person joining from there as well. So once again, thank you all for joining, and looking forward to seeing you all in the next one. So take care.